And finally, the new weapon of the left. Get ready to hear a lot more about a thing called media literacy. This is when, basically, people can decode what really is going on when it comes to the media. Now, I practice it here every night, but you know my version of decoding the media is not the one that they want to be taught in schools. This is a graph about where young people get their news from. The biggest source is from family members, and then it's newspapers, television, radio, about a third all the way through. And this has got some hand-wringing happening right now, where apparently just 1 in 5 students are learning media literacy as news consumption continues to rise. So what does media literacy mean? What do they want to teach? Well, important media literacy skills for students include critical capacity to differentiate between fact, opinion and analysis in news content. Yeah, we do that every night. Understanding how media works, what agendas might be at play, and what is the intent of the creator. Questioning and verifying sources, who is behind the information and what is their motivation. So you've seen me do 20 minutes of media analysis and you've seen me do it for 10 years. For it, my career becomes shorter and shorter, the enemies list gets longer and longer, and I couldn't give a stuff because somebody needs to tell you the truth. I know how the sausage is made. But this is how media literacy works on the left. This is how media literacy would work in a classroom. Here's the front page of today's Daily Telegraph. It said that Mexicans shut out, as Victorians were not allowed to go into New South Wales. This person on Twitter decided to say, actually really impressed at how the Daily Telegraph has managed to racialise COVID since day one. It went from Asians to Indigenous folk for Black Lives Matter protests to Muslims having Ehad dinners, the South Sudanese for simply existing, and now they've drawn the parallel to Mexican immigrants. That's the media literacy that would be taught to your kids, not the type that you watch every night. Beware of the next tool about trying to brainwash kids. Mark Latham will be on it. If they bring it into the Parliament anytime in New South Wales, he'll fight good and hard for it. How are you, great man?
Yeah, good, thanks, Paul. Great to be here with you. And, you know, the Mexican thing ultimately is a joke.
Correct.
You know, these humourless leftists have had a bypass from their humour zone and they don't even have the capacity to laugh anymore.
Well, for the
I'm sure there's no Mexican Australian offended by this reference.
Yeah, correct. Well, somebody who would be offended, of course, I'm just preempting what Nicholas Rees will say, of course, from Melbourne University when we talk about media literacy. Do you think my version of it gets taught or the Twitter version gets taught? Because, of course, it's the evil Murdoch empire, racialising everything, ooga booga, ooga booga.
Look, Mexicans is a common expression that's used by people north of the Murray who are generally not as intelligent as those south of the Murray to describe Victorians. So I don't get angry about that. I pity those people north of the Murray. The cockroaches, the sandgropers, something I could call the Tasmanians, let alone the New Zealanders, but probably shouldn't say that, even though this is an after-dark television
Mate, they're going to
program.
cancel you even joking like this, Nick. You be careful.
Enjoy
your pass won't work at the uni.
Enjoy your lockdown,
You
Nick.
know where I'm going with it. It's all a bit of a laugh. I don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, but Rita Panahi, media literacy, get ready for this to be the new way of brainwashing kids.
Well, yes, of course, we know Mexicans means below the border. Always my comeback was I'd rather be a Mexican than a Canadian. Have you been to Canada? Mexico is a wonderful place to travel. Canada's not bad either, but I'd take Mexico any day of the week. So, yeah, I mean, they're desperate to see. If you see everything through a filter of racial politics, then you will find everything to be inherently racist. And you'll probably go through life being fairly miserable.
But also, you know, we talk about education all the time, Mark. Channel 9 newspapers worried about 1 in 5 students being taught media literacy. What about students being taught all the basics?
The basics of literacy,
That's the headline
real
news.
literacy, like learning how to read and write, and numeracy, how to do numbers, and, you know, some history there. You can do the modern history syllabus in New South Wales and not learn about the French Revolution, the very beginning of modern history. So there's plenty of gaps, but there's already elements of this in the system, and the latest review's trying to make it more so. You know, if we're going to be teaching kids about so-called fake news and how they decipher this, it's just more political content and getting away from the basics.